Hey, good morning. So today I'm going to be showing you how to build your own Makiwara. I'm going to take you step by step as I go through the whole process from beginning to end with this video tutorial. Let's go. So I'm here with my little buddy. Hey. And we're at Lowe's and we're going to go pick up the supplies and yeah, check it out. Slow down, cowgirl. All right. Good job. All right, so here we are. This is what we want right here. So this is pressure-treated redwood. Yep. 4x4s. Thanks. And then we're also going to grab one of these guys up here for the cross supports. So let's do it. Hold it up. This is what we need as well. We need some exterior decking screws, 3 inches in length, so when we attach the cross supports to the Makiwara, it will be awesome and good. All right. Thanks, kid. We also picked up some of this, which is water sealant. It's a stain and sealer all in one. It's going to protect it from sun and moisture and all that. So after we make the cut, we're going to have to coat the raw side with the sealant. Got it? All right, perfect. Let's go. And we also picked up a couple of bags of all-purpose sand, and this will help with the base once we put the Makiwara in the ground. Now, what I'm going to do is an 8-foot long piece, and we'll probably cut it down to about 7 feet total. Might keep it 8 feet, we'll see. Anyway, because the Makiwara is tapered, it's going to be wider at the bottom and then thinner at the top. What I'm planning on doing is actually to cut from this corner here all the way to the opposite diagonal corner right here. And if I can do that, then I'll end up with 2 Makiwara for the price of 1. I just wanted to show you some of the things that we're going to use to make the Makiwara, plus some of the tools that if you're going to do this, you're going to need as well. So tools you're going to need. Got my impact driver here. Okay, going to need that to screw the cross supports to the actual post. I'm going to need some clamps here to hold the post in place on the workbench while I make the cut. I like my fingers and I don't want to be holding it just with my hands. So better I have no accidents by just taking proper safety precautions, making sure that I hold the Makiwara down with the clamps. Then this guy here. Okay, so this is an electric skill saw. I found that using a battery-powered skill saw just doesn't have the same amount of power that you need, continuous power. You just don't want to stop halfway through a cut and then have to, start over. So electric sander, just to add a nice finish once the cuts are done. And of course, if you're going to stain your Makiwara or seal it, you want to make sure it's free of any debris or any other impurities before you go ahead and paint it up. So that's that guy. Now, for the fun stuff, I'm going to try this. This is some grass cord I'm going to use for the head of the Makiwara as a striking point. So we'll see how that goes. Last time I did it, I used a polyurethane pad with some stage tape or like duct tape, and that held up pretty good. But I'm going to go traditional this time and see if we can make it using the rope instead. Of course, you can also put some straw or whatever you want underneath this to cushion it a little bit. But I haven't made a final decision on that yet, so we'll see how we go. All right, that's it. Let's get to work. one more thing. Safety glasses. Always take care of your eyes. Okay? Never be doing any woodworking or any cutting, any power tools without taking proper safety precautions. These are my shooting glasses. Okay, so I've got this bad boy up here right now. It's a big, heavy piece of timber, which is going to be perfect for us. We don't want it moving too much. Now, the overall dimensions of the Makiwara, I'm going to make this one about probably 7.5 feet long, and it'll stick up out of the ground about 4.5 feet, and the other 3 feet will be, in the ground, okay, with the 2 cross supports. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and mark where I want to cut, and then I'm going to do multiple cuts. Trying to cut through all of that in one cut is just asking for trouble. So I'm probably just going to set the depth of the blade probably about 1 inch or so, and just go through very, very slowly and make the cut all the way down, come back, do it again, and then I'm going to flip it over and come from the other side, and hopefully the 2 cuts will line up. And that's why I'm going to need the sander at the end, because it's probably not going to be perfect, but you never know. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so I'm ready to make this mark, and probably the best way to do it is, or what I'm going to try anyway, is I'm going to use a piece of tape. I'm going to tape it from this corner all the way to the other and just pull it tight and see if we can get a nice straight line. Alright, so that looks reasonably straight. We'll try that. So the tape's in place, it's easy to see. Hopefully I'll be able to use that as a guide and make this cut a bit easier than trying to look for a black line on this dark wood. Alright, wish me luck. This guy's kicking up a lot of sawdust, so switching these out to this guy. Okay, so I finished the 2 cuts. Remember, I cut from one side and then I cut from the other, and hopefully these guys are going to line up. And I know they're not exactly, but hopefully it's pretty close, and I'll just be able to pop it open here and see. So you can see that right. Let me get this tape out of here. Okay, so you can see here we're pretty close, and that's why I'm going to need the sander just to finish it off. But in actuality, I'm going to cut it back to about here for the head, so it's not going to matter too much. But hopefully, see, the saw depth wasn't quite enough, and I adjusted it a little bit. Maybe what I might do is just adjust the saw depth a little bit further and then just do one final cut, and I think that might be the best way, because I don't want to crack this thing, even though it's right there ready to pop off. Let me see. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to run one more cut, and then that should take care of it. All right, the moment of truth. Let's see if this is going to work. Oh, it's right there. Come on. Aha! Da 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 da! All right. So You can see that there. We're pretty close, and that's why I'm going to use a sander to just clean this up. And then, Makiwara number 2. Boom. So we've got 2, a little bit different, but they'll do the same thing. So we've got 2 Makiwara cut, all out of one 4x4. Remember, when you choose your 4x4, make sure that it is pressure treated and is suitable for outdoor use and for being put in the ground. You don't want this rotting, a few months in. All right, let's get to cleaning up. Okay, so I'm ready to go ahead and attach it across the supports, but before we do that, we need to figure out how high this Makiwara really is going to stick out of the ground. And here's a little trick for measuring that. Depending on your height and how high you want it to be when you actually strike the Makiwara. So what I've done, I've stood it up on end here like this. And if I'm striking a post, I want to have it just slightly below shoulder height. So probably the top of the head should be about there, or that distance from the ground, right? And probably down to about there. So I don't want to be hitting it like this. Okay, so we want to make sure these knuckles are hitting. So for me, it's probably going to be right around that part there. So I'm just going to do that, put a little bit of tape on here, and then I'm going to measure that distance to the floor, and then go ahead and figure out what that distance is from the top, and that'll give me the right depth to put this. So now that I know that the height of the Makiwara will be 54 inches from the earth to the top, I want to take exactly half of that for the section that will be below the ground. So in this case, it's going to be 27 inches. So that will be 1/3 of below the ground and 2/3 above the ground. And that's a good rule to go by. I know the overall length will be 54 plus 27, which is going to be 81 inches. So I'm going to cut from the top. I'm going to come down 81 inches and then go ahead and cut that off, and that will set the overall length of the Makiwara. 1/3 below the ground, 2/3 above. Okay, so I'm ready to go ahead and seal this Makiwara with the sealant that we got, and then we're going to screw it together, and we're almost there. Okay, so I'm ready to put this guy on, and remember this is 2 feet wide, and so I've centered it here, and then I've got these screws that we picked up, the decking screws. These are 3 inches, so I'm going to go ahead and put 4 of these in. Probably don't need 4, but better to be safe than sorry. And yeah, let's get it done. Always be ready. Just going to mark these where I want to put them. And this is just approximate. Doesn't have to be perfect. Bam! Look at that. That's awesome. Number 1 in. I like these. Perfect. Now, flip it over, put the other one on. Traditionally, a Makiwara has straw and then rope wrapped around. So the straw provides some kind of cushion, and then the rope gives it that tougher surface for striking. However, I'm seeming to be fresh out of straw, and I was just cleaning up here in the garage. I found this, it's like an ace bandage, and had this guy laying around. So I thought, well, why don't I use this? I'll use this as the straw, and then I've got the rope there ready to go. So I'm going to give this a shot, see how it works out. Now here's a rope. So it's just some grass cord that we'll use, and see how this goes. So let's just get this done. Okay. So when you wrap this guy, what you want to do is start off with a piece on the inside like this, and then I'm going to go around, I'm going to wrap it tightly all the way around. I may do 2 layers, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to start this one, say right here. I'm just going to pull that tight. And go over it like that. And that way, this will remain inside. And I'm not going to worry too much about that for now. It'll cover up once we wrap it all the way around. So now I've got to the end here. The trick is, well, how do you wrap this without this coming off and fraying at the top? So what I'm going to do, you can see as it comes around here, I'm going to make it diagonal this way. I'm going to take it back under. And then I'm going to wrap it around the middle again. And that's just going to hold that in place. Okay? I'm going to bring it back up to the top this way. And then I'm going to begin my wrap again and work down. And that way, it should, fingers crossed, stay nice and strong here, not come off. And once I'm done at the bottom, I'll tuck it back up under here and wrap it. Or maybe, if I'm going to cheat a little bit, just use some glue or something like that to just make sure it stays in place. Okay, so here's my hole, and you can see that the first support will be about 3 inches below the surface, and the second one down there. And what I'm going to do now is start to fill it in. Now, as you fill it, you want to pack it with big rocks at the bottom and try to secure it all up so it's not going to move around once it's being struck. So we're going to stabilize it with some rocks, then pour some smaller rocks in to kind of fill the holes, and then after that I'm going to fill the rest of it, fill up the remaining space with sand. And when you do that, this will allow water to drain through this hole where the Makiwara sits. We don't want it to be muddy and wet and for all the water to sit there and create any problems for us. So we want the water to drain away. So let's get started. Okay, so you can see I've put some rocks in the hole here to support the base of the Makiwara, and then I'll continue to do this, make sure that this is nice and secure before adding the smaller stones. So I've started filling in the hole here, and what I want to do is think of it like lasagna in layers. Put in a layer of big rocks first, and then add some smaller rocks, and then some sand, and then repeat. Big rocks, smaller rocks, sand, repeat. And that way you're going to make sure that all the gaps get filled, and it will also drain properly. So I've gone ahead and added in the stones, medium-sized stones and rocks, and now I'm going to add some sand. Okay, so I've gone ahead and added some sand just for this lower layer. So it's big rocks, small rocks to fill the gaps, and then sand to fill those gaps. And that way I can tamp it down, make sure that it's nice and solid, and you can see it's starting to get there. And another 2 feet of earth going in, this thing's going to be like a rock. So anyway, this sand isn't very deep. This is just covering the rocks at this point, but it's filling in the gaps. And so now I'm going to add more big rocks and some small ones and some more sand. You can see that I've started to add in the second set of large rocks and tiles and just stuff that I had laying around, bits of concrete. This of course is going to provide a really stable base, and the other thing you want to do before you get too far is actually make sure that it's level. So we'll put this guy on here and just make sure that it's level here. And of course you can adjust it forward and back, and I'll go ahead and adjust this a little bit. Okay, so the second layer of sand just went on, and what I'm going to do is just make sure that this is nice and solid. So I'm going to just tamp it down with this crowbar. Make sure that's all good. Alright, you can see that's really solid now, and we still have a layer to go. Third layer in. Now I'm just going to fill this, and then we're going to be good to go. Alright, so that's a layer of stones, third layer of stones. Pack this guy down, make sure it's all good. Just need a few more over here. And that is pretty much done. I'm just going to fill over the last remaining part with a little bit of topsoil, and we are good to go. Ba-ba! Well, there you have it. It took a few hours from start to finish, but now we have a traditional Makiwara all set up. Come this way. So I'll put it back here. You can see, oops, in the garden here. It's out of the way. It's back where it's not going to bother anybody else. And nice little area to go ahead and practice. Let's go ahead and test it out. Okay, so there you go. It's holding up pretty well. If there's something that you're still not sure of, or if you have any comments, suggestions, or questions, go ahead and use the comment section below, and look forward to hearing from you. All right. Stay safe, train hard. Talk to you later. Bye.